GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello traders, it's that time of the week again. You know what we do. Gonna look at some high probability trading setups for you for this week in the markets. My name is Dima. Welcome to another video. It is a new month this month, NFP week. So we're gonna look at how the market is going to play out. We know to be a little bit more cautious on NFP week because we see more consolidation and volatility at the end of the week on Friday. It's also the new month of February. We're now rolling well into the new year, so possibility of a bit more liquidity, markets really getting into their stride. We have a bit more clarity than we did last month at the beginning of the year. Let's see where the market takes us this week. Gonna start with the usual economic calendar news. Let's see what we've got for this week. All right, so Monday, we don't have any news to be aware of. Tuesday, we do have GDP figures on the CAD. On the dollar, we have another small bit of news, consumer confidence. And from New Zealand, on New Zealand dollar, we have unemployment figures. So gonna watch out for that. Wednesday, we have OPEC meetings all day. So that could be related to CAD pairs. That's those that are related to oil. And we've got on the dollar ISM manufacturing numbers. And then I have a big one, FOMC and the rates announcement. Thursday, we also have a bank rate announcement from on the pound there. And then we have a speech, a monetary policy announcement, and a refinancing rate announcement on the euro. So that's another big one. And also one to watch out for is from Switzerland on the Swiss. There is the speech from the central bank. And then on Friday, of course, NFP, the major one. It's quite a few bits of news to look out for there on the calendar. Let's see how we can pair it up with our setups for this week. As ever, I've got a few selected here. Let's carry on. You may recognize these from past weeks. We are continuing with some of these charts and pairs to be consistent and keep monitoring them and just letting the market play out and come to us for the right opportunity. Okay, let's begin once again with our major pairs. And let's start with the euro this week. Let's see where we are at. So looking on the weekly chart, we have had the bullishness for quite a while now. And what we can see here now is we've got a little bit of a slowdown. You can see these wicks beginning to form. Market is gradually slowing down here. We have had this level that the market reached into. So now the question is, are we having this slowdown and we're going to get a little reversal, or are we going to continue with the momentum to the upside? So what are we going to look for? Well, what we look for is this high up here. Now that we've breached, if this is now the swing low, we're looking for this high to be taken out. And if we do that and we head higher, then after that, the idea on here is to get that break, the market to come back down, get a better price and continue to the upside. And the upside, the next obvious target will be up here. We've got this little swing, little zone level up here as well. So here are two little targets. Now bearing in mind, here's the first one. So it's about 180 pips away. And I also have to consider the other possibility of what I can see here is this trend forming. So if we have a break of that, then I'm going to look at the market as heading lower, at least in the short term. And then to get a better price, a nice higher price, and then coming down further down. Now, this will be a short-term trade because considering that we are in a very much bullish trend, I do not know how long this short idea will last. So we'll bear that in mind and we'll be more conservative on that one. What I do see is we do have this gap right here where price has not come back to, so there is a possibility that price may want to come further down. We have had this consolidation here, this other range here, so we are kind of slowing down. You can see that on the higher time frame and the lower time frame. Let's see how it goes. So far it is unclear because we are stuck in this kind of range and we have these highs. Let's see if we get them broken with conviction, with real momentum, big candles, and then go from there. It's a daily time frame. You can see that gap down here. That doesn't necessarily mean that the market will come down and fill it. Okay, it's just a case of let's see where it goes or how it wants to play out. So these are the two major swing points I'm bearing in mind as a reference, and then using them to base my decisions on off of when, if and when the market gets there. Okay, at the moment it's a little bit unclear, as you can see, so that's why not having a very strong bias on this one for now. I'll have to see where the dollar goes overall as well. Yeah, that's that. So that's the euro dollar for this week. It may be the case that we may range some more. As ever, if you remember, I've been talking about previous videos that when we come up to major news on the days leading up to it, the market does tend to range. Often it begins to consolidate and it's kind of collecting orders using that period and then building some orders into the market, and then it actually makes its move. So I'm going to keep that in mind. It may be the case that we'll have to wait until next week if this does not play out, especially with NFP on Friday. All right, so that's the euro dollar. Let me move on to the next one. The next pair I have, look at euro pound. So euro pound I looked at last week and marked out this zone to go lower. This was the possibility and we did have that. We had the move away there to come down into this level down here as part of this retracement after this large move higher. And as you can see, we hit the 50 level here, bounced, and now I'm looking for the continuation to the downside. Now, what does the continuation look like? Well, continuation will be a break of the next low to show us that the market wants to continue lower. And then as ever, another swing, another better price to get a nice, more expensive price, and then coming down to this downside here. I can just delete that. It's not necessary now. So that is the idea on the euro pound there, slightly lower prices. If we get a break of this level up here and we go higher, then this whole idea is invalidated because we're now broken a major structural level and I don't see the market going lower after that. We're going to be heading higher. So if we're incorrect here and the market doesn't do that, at the moment it's kind of here in between. If it doesn't go lower, then this will be the marker point. Yeah, always know your risk parameters and have another scenario, alternative scenario for the market, because, well, you never know. Market can do anything it likes. Just remember that. Don't assume that you're going to be right. Don't try to be right. Okay, that's the euro pound idea. So continuation from last week. Going ahead with that, let's go now to another forex pair. We got pound yen. Let's have a look on the weekly quickly. What we can see here is the market made this move here. This is kind of a retracement after this move higher, and now we are slowly petering up higher. Last week closed bullish. If I go to a lower time frame, you can see this had this major move down, and we left this gap in price up here. If you want to look left and stretch it into these candles. We can also see that we match here. So there is a possibility that we may be heading slightly higher before any drop or a move to the downside, to the upside, and we see what happens from this level. So at the moment, that is where I'm looking at the probabilities at being. There's also a little kind of wedge, if you want to call it that, or basically it's just a consolidation. Or if you look on the lower time frame here, we've been ranging last week, and now where are we going to move to? So if I'm looking at this area to be reached, let me just draw a fib for you from here to here. We bounced off the 50, we haven't reached the 61.8, so I'll be looking at that and beyond, and here's that area too. So there's a little indication there from the fib. So let's see if we reach that point. Here's that first target, and I'm going to make this here the second one. With that assumption, with that idea, we've got two scenarios here. So the first is we're going to look at a break higher. So if we do have a break higher, then this is the scenario I'll be looking at: a break, getting a cheaper price, and then moving to the upside. If we don't, what you can see is as a little trend line here. If this trend line gets broken with conviction and we go below this low here, then we are going to be more likely to resume to the downside. So again, break lower, pull back, and then continuation to the downside, and the next target for the downside will be down here. Let's see where it goes. At the moment, you can see building, once again, building orders, consolidating market. Not sure where the market is going to go from here, so that's why we're going to have to be a little bit more patient and see where it wants to lead to. We'll let the market do its thing. On the daily, it's ranging, 4 hours ranging, 1 hour clear range. Not sure where it's going to go right now, but these are the two scenarios I'm looking at. And when we do head higher, let's see what we get here, if we get a reversal to the downside or continuing higher. But that's for another day in the future, not right now. Okay. Yeah, this is how I look at it when the probabilities are not in our favor, and many are not at the moment. I'm just picking out what looks to be playing out as it is at the moment, and then preparing a scenario for what happens when it happens, if it happens. So if this, then that. That's the case here, and I'm going to look for that. These two ideas. This one is obviously going to be a short one, because if we trade up here, depending on how tight your stop loss is going to be, how good your entry is going to be, this may be a little shorter term trade because of this retracement area down up here. So there may be a little bit of the question is, how high are we going to go? Yeah, because we don't know that, we don't have a set reference point, then this may not be a long-term trade. Okay, so just bear that in mind at this moment in time on the pound yen. And again, remembering the news, remembering what's happening this week on the economic calendar. Let me move on to pound Swiss now, another pound pair. And let's have a look at what we've got here. So just zoom out on the bigger picture. Let's get a bit of a context for pound Swiss. You can see we've been moving lower, lower, lower. So overall, there's weakness in the pound Swiss. And here we had this very massive move here. We had this candle that bounced, left a very big wick, and now we're having this retracement up. And the last few months have been struggling. We've been ranging here. And now the question becomes, are we going to continue lower to the downside, or are we still in a retracement phase in the pound Swiss there? Overall, the bias is to sell because we have this, unless otherwise, on a very big monthly time frame. And last month we saw a bearish month, and because of that, those two factors, I'm going to look at the continuation of that. Looking on the weekly, we have had bullishness. However, I'm keeping in mind the bigger picture in this case. Looking at the daily, I had this move here, and just to mention that you can see this zone here, the question is whether this whole area will hold. So I will only know that when we reach this price point here. Let me just move this zone, this price point here, and if we breach above it, then possibly higher prices. At the moment we haven't done that, so until then I'm still going to be bearish. And if I take a fib from low to the high, we can see we are well into the retracement territory. We've had this area up here where price did not fill yet, and now it is filling that. It is coming back to reach that area. So now we're going to have a question mark. Are we going to hold this area, or are we going to break and go higher up and beyond this reference point up here? What would indicate whether this is going to be a reversal area or not? That becomes a question. Well, I can see a trend line here. We're having a trend form. So the next question I'm going to ask myself is, are we going to have a reversal? We can see a definite slowdown over here. Very, again, consolidating, ranging area, whatever you want to call it. And it's not quite clear if we're going to break higher or go lower. So let's, again, play out the scenario, let the market do its thing. And I'm going to use this low as the reference point. So a break lower than here. If I go on the lower time frame, which is the low of the previous week, if we break that low of the week on the way there, we have the first sign would be break of this one, and then the next structural low. So I would like to see a nice break. If we get that momentum, we have, remembering pound news, we have Swiss news as well, and once we break it, getting a nice, more expensive price, and then to the downside. Now, don't know how far down it's going to go, but the first reference point will be here, first target, and then second one will be there. But we're, well, so early days, I should say, real early days before all of that. And if that happens, then it'll be this first one reference point, and then there'll be another one, and then the ultimate low there. But again, yeah, that's a very long way away, so let's not assume, let's not make predictions. Let's see if this indeed happens or not. At the moment, it's a very risky, low probability area to trade from because of this range, because we are not clear. It's not clear where the market wants to go. Are we in a retracement? Are we going to move down further or head higher? So these are the two ideas. This is the invalidation point if we go higher. And I want to see that strong move down again. Maybe we're going to consolidate for the whole this week. We may have to wait for the second week of February. Let's see where the market takes us. That's the idea for now. And I'm playing out the scenarios here and preparing for that setup. If that happens, then the probabilities will be coming to our favor more. And then we'll see, then we'll take action. So at the moment, really need to know when to sit on the sidelines, put your hands under your thighs, don't touch the mouse, and wait for the market to come to you. Right, shall we move on? Let's go to the next one on the list. Let's go to oil. Oil last week, I played out a scenario here. If you can see, let's go down the 4 hour. This is what I was looking at. I was looking at a break beyond this level to confirm the bullishness, to move, get to better price, and then continue higher because I was bullish on oil. As you can see, this is what I mean by waiting and patience. The market consolidated, did not move higher, did not create that confirmation. So what happened then? You would have been stuck. You've been really well stuck, and this is now, market is in the range. And we're now going to have to wait for the next scenario to play out because we don't have it here. Again, I will be continuing with this idea because I am still bullish on oil unless otherwise seen. So once again, same scenario. If we go higher, let's just move that for this week. Let's see what happens on NFP. If we go higher, then this is the scenario. This will be here the invalidation point. So we may go lower. And if we go lower, the next area I'll be looking at is this gap where price has not come up to yet, which will be, if I measure the fib from here to here, will be below the 50, maybe the 61.8. There's a little confluence of ideas there. Just delete that to make it cleaner. And if it gets there, when we breach below this, then we'll see what happens there. And then possibly, depending on how we go, if we reach lower, then the idea will be to the upside, which will make an even better price than up here, and an even bigger risk to reward, and even bigger move to look out for. So let's watch out for that. That's the alternative scenario here. Perhaps with NFP, before NFP, I don't know. Let's see what happens. The moment, early days, let the market do its thing. We're in a range, not touching it, not interested so far as it is. Let it produce some more data, some more candles. Now let's go as ever to the indices, and this week I'm going to look at NAS 100 or NASDAQ or whatever name you want to give it. I had the bearish bias, this area marked out for some time now. We breached this area down here after this wick was taken out, so this is no longer relevant, and I still have this area marked out as a possible reversal point. Now we don't have any clue of reversal so far. Let's look at the weekly. The weekly ended up bullish, so no reversal pattern there. Daily, you can see only bullish candles ending the week, so no reversal there. The next question is going to be, what are we going to wait for, and what do we want to see in order to give us confirmation of the direction and a change in direction to confirm this bearish scenario? Remembering that on the monthly we're bearish, on the weekly we can see this retracement and range, and we haven't breached this high up here, which is a major structural high. Therefore we are still bearish. If we just continue on the daily for a moment, as that's a major time frame, we have not had a reversal yet, so I'm going to wait for a reversal to happen, and the reversal is going to look like, first we will need major breaks of structure. So this will be the first one, and if you want to use this one as your reference point, then a break of structure and then a pullback to a nice, better, expensive price before a big move down. The second break of structure I would really want to see, ideally this one being broken. Oops, let me just make it a bit more precise. It doesn't really want to go, does it? Let's do this. Okay. This one being broken, and then I'll prefer for the market to give us a big move down to be a bit clearer, and then something like this. We may also move a little bit higher still within this zone, and then if we have a reversal here to the upside, that is another possibility, and then a move down. We want to see a real momentum candles, a real break lower for that to happen. At the moment we're just bullish, bullish, bullish. Very clear bullish trend, high highs, high lows for quite a while now. I mean, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, almost a month really, last 4 weeks. So because that is not letting up so far, we really have to want to see a much clearer idea. There is no sign of reversal here, especially as we've broken this high. So let's wait for that. NFP may be the catalyst. Once again, remembering that the week may consolidate and may have to wait until after this week. And this week might be a game of patience. I keep mentioning that word on this occasion. As always, well, that's the game. So, last but not least, let's go to the crypto, and Ethereum is one that I looked at last week. And my idea for last week was to get a better price and then to continue to the upside, because I am bullish on Ethereum. And I was looking at Ethereum rather than Bitcoin because Ethereum looks stronger. It looks like it has more strength in the market, whereas Bitcoin looks like it's weaker. It's not gaining strength as much as Ethereum, so that's why I'm looking at that. Here was the idea. Once again, lower prices, getting a nice cheaper price before continuing to the upside. The market didn't produce that. It mostly ranged. Here you go. From beginning to the end of the week, we mostly had the same price ending, opening and closing. So that was a range. Again, we're building this range. So once again, don't want to be trading a ranging market. Personally, I'm going to wait. Here we had this gap. Here we had this zone now being formed. And if you just look on the higher time frame, you can see this trend line. So I'll be looking for the market to come to a cheaper price as close to this area and confluence of trend line as much as possible. Of course, the lower the price, the better. If you want to be more exact, this area would be much better. From low to the high, this is the halfway mark. Below that is the cheap area. Here's the 61.8, here's the 78. So let me just extend it to this area just to match with the fib. And that's where I'll be looking at. So far, we're well away from that, thousands of points away. So not ready yet, unless we break this high. Now, if we break this high and continue higher, which is the alternative, you can see I drew that out last week, then the situation changes and I'm going to have to reassess, because not getting that cheaper price, if the market just wants to shoot higher, just break higher without coming back to a better price, then I'm going to have to consider that as well. Okay, that will be the invalidation point, but that will be confirmation too of the bullishness of Ethereum. If that happens and it breaks with conviction, with momentum, then I'll be looking at this alternative scenario. But again, don't know if that's going to happen this week. Let's see. I mean, crypto moves fast, so if Ethereum, ETH wants to come back and do this create a second swing, then so be it. Then I'll be looking at this level to trade from, to take a long and continue higher. Here's the next high, and there's the next high over here, and more highs further up. We've got a very long way to go. So we'll see if this whole area, this whole range in the market, this kind of wedge drew out, if you want to see a very large wedge, is the place where the market is holding price, and it will reverse from on a bigger time frame. We'll wait for that to happen. Let's see if that happens. And again, want to see the price action tell us the full story, and the candles will show their hand as the market unveils itself. All right, so these are the scenarios for this week. Those are the higher probability setups that I found. The rest of the markets I didn't really like. These are not high probabilities as of now. They are when the price action comes to us, right? So just remember that. Don't assume that because we are looking at certain biases that it means that you're going to enter straight away. You're going to look for a very correct entry, and better to wait for that moment. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you for joining me for this week. As ever, my name is Dima. Thank you very much for being here, for spending your time here. Hope this helps you. Good luck in your trading week. Watch out for the news, and of course NFP Friday, you may want to sit that one out and wait until next week if you've got nothing. Good luck in your trading week, and bye for now. I see you on the next one. All right, thanks guys.